Alright, now we're going to replace this lower torque strut. The rubber and stuff is just completely deteriorated here. It's not really doing much of nothing. So, you got to get that bolt out right there. It's 15 millimeter. And pull that out. We've got the replacement part. Oh, there we go. It's not too bad. Alright, looks like the bolt we just took off. And we got to take that one off so we can move that arm. This is also 15 millimeter. Alright, after we got that bar out of the way, there's a washer right here. And we got one more nut on the back there. That is what is this, 18 millimeters. So we're gonna have to pull that off. Alright, that's out. See the difference here? That's my old one. Look at that, it's not even part of it anymore. So these are Torx. We're going to take those out, move the plate over to here. I'll find out what the size for that is and I'll let you know. Alright, these bolts here, they use a T30 Torx to attach it to the end of the arm. Alright, we'll put this back in now. Rubber piece goes this way, facing towards the engine. There was a washer when this bolt came out, so I want to make sure that goes back in. Like I said, that is a 18 millimeter bolt. Let me see if it's got any spec Torx on it. Some specs for the torque. Alright, this bolt and the installation one here and the strut above on top, which we're also going to replace, I have to wait on the torque specs on that. I can't tighten them right now because you have to measure an adjustment on the upper strut, but they're going to be, once we do tighten them down, let me get that number because it may be a minute. I believe, where's the struts? Yeah, they're going to be 87 pounds each or 118 Newton meters. So 87 pounds, 87 pounds, and of course it'll be the same up here and here, which is where I have to measure, making a measurement when we put that on. Alright, we're getting ready to put the damper pulley back on the crankshaft. It's a press-on fit, and they don't make a bolt long enough, and you shouldn't really do this anyway, to put your pulley up there and then crank it on with it at starting at least. What I'm gonna do, because they do a press fit at the factory, I'm gonna have to heat up the interior. I'll use my gloves, I'll pick it up and it'll start to slide on its own. And then once I do that, I take a piece of wood and I set it across the face. This is the back side, but I set it across the face and use my dead blow hammer to tap it in the center and work my way around. I would tap it like this with the wood till it gets going. I throw my bolt in, and I crank it in there while it's still, the metal's expanded from the heat. Crank on it till you get down near the bottom. It'll be 100 foot-pounds. So I got the garage door open since I'm gonna be using the flame here. Shouldn't take much. Last time I didn't heat it up long enough and it went on fine. If I heat it up just a little bit more, probably go on even easier. Let's get it. Okay. Inside. We just want that metal to expand a little bit so it can slide over the crankshaft. Last time I put a bag of ice on that crankshaft. I don't know if it helped or not really, because it's in a Ziploc bag. Don't put your nozzle too into the fire area. I did that and the solder broke loose. That's why I had to start it with a lighter, not the trigger start, because my solder came loose. I need to fix that. Alright, use my gloves because I do not want to burn the shit out of myself. Where's my bolt? There it is. Okay. I'm just using my welding gloves. That's the thickest gloves I got. The heat shouldn't go too far to the outside, but you never know. I don't like being burned. Come on, baby. Let's see how you're gonna do. See what we got going on here. All right. Get a bigger hammer. Again, I may not have heated it up enough. Like last time, I'm going to have to pull it off, heat it up again a little bit more, and then try again. Luckily, the pulley, the damper pulley, did not go on there because I forgot to put the timing belt cover back on. It uses two 8mm bolts here and here, and they go to 105 inch pounds or 12 Newton meters. So I'm going to put that on now with the 8mm bolts. Alright, luckily I had to take off all the bolts, loosen them up for the power steering mounting bracket. I had to get that loosened up. Then the timing chain cover went on. Then I heated up my damper pulley longer. That thing slid right on all the way bottomed out. So now I'm tightening this stuff up. It did really good. There you go. So it's going to start turning now. So I'm going to have to put my railroad tie back in here. Use my torque wrench, not my torque wrench, and crank it down to I think it's 100 foot-pounds that it wants me to do. Yeah, 100 foot-pounds on a 19mm bolt. Now that the damper pulley's in place, I'm gonna put our lower torque strut, mount that. I jacked up the engine a little bit and had to pull on it a little bit forward and stuff to line up the hole in the back here. Yeah, we're looking good. And then we'll use the torque wrench, and I believe $87 foot-pounds or 118 Newton meters. And that's what we're going to tighten this bolt down to. And then behind here, that one right there also. Ooh. All right. Oh, one size too large. I still had the socket for the damper pulley. That is very hard to do by yourself, the damper pulley. I was shocked that I was able to get on it and do it correctly. Dang, it's hard to get in here. There we go. Let's get the back one. A little more difficult. There we go.